Hello everyone, welcome to US Shilajit. My name is Hobie Call, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you 4 reasons why US Shilajit is your source for the world's purest and most potent Shilajit. Number 1, we don't source our Shilajit from halfway around the world and hope that it's genuine or high quality. We source our Shilajit ourselves from right here in the Rocky Mountains of the United States of America. From awesome places like this. And this. And this. Number 2. We purify our Shilajit to the highest standard on the planet. Now Shilajit off of the mountain, if it's quality Shilajit, is usually about 20 to 40% actual Shilajit. The rest is contaminants that we want to remove. So Shilajit is water soluble, so to purify it, all you need to do is mix it with water, and the Shilajit will dissolve into the water, and then heavier and dissolved contaminants will sink to the bottom. Some more organic material will float to the top. And then that provides a way for us to be able to purify it. Now, most companies do a pretty good job of getting all this stuff off the bottom and the stuff floating up top. They have a variety of ways to do that, but companies that put a decent amount of effort into it do a pretty good job of that. Well, here at US Shilajit, I'm not interested in just that. What I'm after is I want to get the bacterias and viruses and mycotoxins such as fungus or mold spores that might be floating in with the Shilajit. And so after going through the standard filtering process that most companies do, we actually run our Shilajit through 4 separate 0.01 micron purifiers. And the pore sizes are so small in those purifiers that it effectively removes 99.99+% of any bacterias or viruses and mycotoxins that might be in the Shilajit. And no other company on the planet actually achieves that level of purification. We're the first company to do that. And so after purifying it, what you have here is the world's purest Shilajit. Now the second thing to address, now that we've taken care of the bacterias and viruses and mycotoxins that might possibly be in the Shilajit, another area of concern with Shilajit is heavy metals. So our experience thus far is that if you start with quality Shilajit that's sourced from areas above human pollution, and if in your processing and handling of the Shilajit while you have it, you don't introduce it to heavy metals, the Shilajit itself is actually very low in heavy metals. Matter of fact, our Shilajit is so low in heavy metals that we actually pass California's Prop 65 standards, which is the strictest standards on the whole planet for heavy metals. Now, a good example of introducing Shilajit to heavy metals is one, you don't want to purify it in just regular tap water because a lot of tap water actually has a decent amount of heavy metals in it. Or an experience that I had in my testing phases of learning how to filter the Shilajit is, and the first time I put together a system with all my purifiers connected together, I bought a bunch of brass fittings. And I put all my filters together with those. And I even bought them brand new. I cleaned them with soap. I washed them dry with a towel to get any sort of manufacturing dust or oils off of them. And after I ran my Shilajit through the system, I sent it in to get tested. And my lead levels didn't pass. All my other heavy metals were great, but the lead levels didn't quite pass California's Prop 65. And so in researching why that was, I realized brass fittings, most brass fittings, have high levels of lead in them. And so I swapped out all my brass fittings with a bunch of stainless steel fittings and ran another batch through, and success. Passed California's Prop 65. So little things matter. If your quality control standards are really high, then even heavy metals shouldn't be an issue with Shilajit. So now that you have the world's purest Shilajit right here, we need to turn it into a finished product because the amount of Shilajit in this water is very inconsistent depending upon how much Shilajit is in the actual raw Shilajit we pull off the mountain. And so to create a finished product, we need to dehydrate this, which leads us to number 3. Now, interesting side note, at this point, the vast majority of companies will take their filtered Shilajit and they'll cook it down to a resin. Now, some people will use the sun as a heat source, some people will put it on low heat and cook it for a long time, some people just crank up the heat and boil it down real quick until they get it to the consistency that they want it. But the common theme is that there's heat and airflow until it evaporates down to the resin form they like. This is about 20% water. A thinner resin will just be more water, and a thicker resin will just be less water, and that's how you get your resins. Well, here at US Shilajit, we freeze dry our Shilajit. Now, the benefits of freeze dryers is almost the opposite effect of cooking it down to a resin. When you cook it down, it's airflow and heat. Well, a freeze dryer works the opposite. When you put your Shilajit in the freeze dryer, the first thing it does is it puts it into a deep freeze. And then a vacuum pump turns on and it sucks all the air out of the chamber. And through the whole entire process of freeze drying, it's always in that vacuum, and the temperature never goes above 15 degrees above freezing. And this has a few benefits. One is there's no heat whatsoever, and so there is no method that retains more nutrients than freeze drying. And 2, it's in a nice sealed container, so it helps keep your Shilajit pure while it's drying. And number 3, it creates the most concentrated product possible in the form of a powder. And where most of your resins are about 20% water, your powder from a freeze dryer is approximately 2% water. And what do you have when you start with quality Shilajit? Purified to the highest standard on the planet? Freeze dry it, preserving more nutrients than any other method of dehydration, while simultaneously creating the most concentrated form of Shilajit possible. The world's purest and most potent Shilajit. But we're not finished yet. We still have one final step, and that leads us to number 4. We're not only committed to bringing you the world's purest and most potent Shilajit, but we're also committed to bringing you the world's most convenient and user-friendly form. And that is why we have chosen to provide it in a liquid extract. So what we do is we get 6 grams of our powder, and we mix it with 13 grams of colloidal silver. And we love colloidal silver for its antibacterial and antiviral qualities. And that's just one extra layer to help make sure that your Shilajit stays pure while you're using it. And so, simple as it gets. You just take the lid off. 10 drops is a 100 milligram serving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's it. Simple as it gets. Discover the power of the world's purest and most potent Shilajit today at usshilajit.com.